am the podcast that flaps in the night. I am the magic spoiler you couldn't unhear. I am DLWeekly.
Well, for this week, we are doing our podcast kind of in some segments, so warning ahead, we apologize ahead, I don't know, but it'll be a little bit different show
It'll
format.
be choppy, but that's okay. We're trying something new.
So right now, we're actually sitting back by Small World, waiting for Paint the Night, and then
like you do.
Wondrous Journeys, and then Tapestry of Happiness. We're doing the threefer. But we just kind of wanted to recap our day today. It is the 17th of July, so of course it's the official 70th anniversary or birth date of Disneyland.
We have done some cool stuff today. So first of all, as you would expect, it is very busy in the park. I've shared in our Discord chat some photos. Very, very busy. Of course, the Walt of Magical Life opened today. The new verse at It's a Small World opened today. The Sherman Brothers
at
video
on Main Street
Cinema did today. And of course, there was some merch and stuff. There's some really cool Magic Key and non-Magic Key I was there anniversary shirts, as well as a pin, which of course both of us got one of each of those.
Yes, we did. But before we even made it into the parks, I think we got to talk about the crowds that were in Esplanade. So we got to like security probably around like 7:30, 7:40, somewhere in between
7:30.
there. There's a Disney duck that's just like walking.
Focus, Teresa, focus.
But so chaos, we've
never
been
seen it like this.
Busy before, but the lines for Disneyland were from the turnstiles all the way back almost to the DCA turnstiles.
It was to the DCA
and
turnstiles,
actually, they were super efficient. They got everyone through very, very quick. I was pretty impressed with that. So that was our opening to the day was that fun. And then past that, what did we get after we scanned ourselves in?
We got a anniversary button and a commemorative park map, but those things were only available if you got here early enough until while supplies last, basically. Apparently DCA had one too, and I'm pretty sure we missed out on that because we have not gone over there this trip at all.
I was surprised that DCA had one too. That's cool. I'm glad they did, but I was not expecting
It's big
that.
too. You had opened it up. I hadn't even looked at it.
Yeah. So the commemorative map had the date, of course, for today, and then it was 70th. It had all of the special events that happened today listed, but then it also, when you folded it way out, was a photo. And what was it? It says in there what it was of specifically. Tag's got it out and is
trying to get it out.
Unfolding it. This unique aerial view of Disneyland was painted in 1954 by Disney legend Peter Ellenshaw, and it was used by Walt to introduce Disneyland to the public on the first episode of the Disneyland television series on October 27, 1954. So, you could unfold this thing and frame it. It's on the back side of the map, so it's pretty cool and pretty beautiful.
And they have a list of the opening day attractions that are still here for each land, which was cool. Yeah, really cool. I wonder what the DCA one was. We've got to find someone that has that. It also on the cover has Walt and Mickey Mouse, that famous one of him in the fire engine in front of the castle, which if you don't know, that is the last photo of Walt taken in the park.
It is. Well, the first thing we did, which is the second time only ever in the history of Tag and Teresa and DLWeekly podcast that this has happened, we rope dropped Small World. Because today they were debuting the last verse. That is, they're, I think, also calling now the new verse, but the last verse of the Small World song that Richard wrote and presented not long before he had passed. There's a really wonderful little short kind of documentary, behind the scenes look, whatever you want to call it, on Disney Plus that features Richard and features him actually playing this last final verse, but they introduced it into Small World officially today. It's in that final scene, the all-white scene. What were your thoughts of it?
I enjoyed it. I thought it blended really well. I could not tell. I was a little surprised. I could not tell the difference between the Children of the World singing the traditional, previous version and then transitioning to the new. I was like, oh, wow. I was did they get the same children?
Yeah, they did a really good job with that. And it's not I don't want to say jarring.
If you didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Smooth transition. If you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Very, very well done. Highly recommend it. Again, nothing different in Small World itself. All they did was change the music for that final scene. Because, of course, Dante and Miguel were introduced earlier this year.
Yeah. So we did that. We kind of met up with some folks and kind of pranced around the park a little bit.
Because we were waiting for our virtual queue
for Walt. Magical Life. Now, so friends of the podcast invited us to a special screening preview
Yeah.
the day before screening, the day before, and so we were able to do that, which we had a little panic because they were talking about how it was having some technical troubles and may have been called off, but it worked totally fine. We got in there, we were able to look at all the artwork section, which is in the first part of the Opera House.
Yeah, in the Disney Gallery.
Yeah, there's a lot of concept art for the different versions of Disneyland before Disneyland was finalized, I guess, if you could even call it that. And then concept art from the different lands, the elevation drawings, stuff like that. If you're a Disneyland fan, this is some really cool stuff in there.
There was also the pieces from Walt's apartment, including the lamp. And we're talking about the Walt's apartment on Main Street, the one that's above the fire station.
And these things were loaned from the family museum.
Yes, and these were items that were in the apartment when Walt was alive and would have been using them, so that was extra special. So that was pretty cool to see that kind of stuff up close. They also had photos of Walt and the family in the apartment space with some of these pieces, which was also very, very cool.
Yeah, it was neat to kind of see. It was kind of a mock-up of that front of the firehouse apartment wall kind of made up there, which was really neat. And then there was a section that we didn't get to see yesterday because there was too many people, so people were queuing up to go into the auditorium, and they had a whole section in there of audio animatronic figures from a bunch of different things.
It was neat.
But we were not able to see it yesterday, but we were able to see it today.
We spent extra time in there today because, pro tip, if you are coming and you're doing the virtual queue, you do need to scan and get into the queue to get into the Opera House by your designated time. But once you're in the next space, we didn't feel rushed or anything like that. So that was pretty cool. So we took our time in there. What we did was we waited for everybody waiting to go into the theater to clear out of that space. It's the space where the big capital carving lived. They moved that out, put new stuff in there. So in that space, we let everyone move into the theater, and then we took over that room, which was great because I felt like we had a ton of time.
We did.
And not very many people to kind of try and work around because everybody was very focused on the main event, which of course is the new animatronic and the new show with Walt. But it was it showcased the history of animatronics.
It was interesting because we recorded with some folks their opinions and their experience with this that we'll put in here in the podcast as well. But something that with talking with Terry Hardin that kind of dawned on me when we were having the conversation was, oh my goodness, not only is it a show about Walt and the park and his life, but it also in a sort of way is about animatronics, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, so they had a Jungle Cruise crocodile in there to
original.
And so it was the crocodile itself, but then it was also the the motor or the mechanism that was built to use to kind of the cylinders and switches that would go on and off, and that was how it would raise up and down and come to life and animate.
They're basically these etched platters that the system would read off of to know what to do. That
was cool. One of the highlights for me that I was not expecting was there was I think we saw teasers about this, that Jose from the Tiki Room was going to be in there, but I didn't know that the Barker board was also going to be there. And if you hang around that section long enough, the Barker bird does his whole spiel. Which was so cool. That's not something I ever got to experience when it was in the park. I never thought I'd be able to experience it in real life, maybe a video. So that was really, really cool. And those animatronics looked so good.
They definitely restored them to their pristine fashion. On the other side, community manager Kate was with us for this, and she was enthralled that there was a couple of animatronics there from Pirates of the Caribbean, and one of them there was a pig, and the pig was you could get obsessed with this pig. It had a cute little face going on. It was cute.
Adorable. But there's
what else
a couple
was on that
animatronics
side?
From Small World.
That's what it was.
So there was one of the geese from Small World, as well as one of the little doll figurines, and they were animated. So these weren't just there and still. Most of these were moving and animated, which was also very cool. Nothing I was expecting.
That was a great touch that they did that. I did not expect that.
I realized that weren't moving were the pirates.
They're probably a lot more intricate, and they only had so much space to put the mechanisms.
But it was still crazy, crazy cool.
Yeah. So the main event.
Yes, the main event.
We got in, and if you've been to Walt Disney World, they had a video that played called One Man's Dream, and they kind of took a lot of the One Man's Dream and they modified it a little bit to put as the kind of intro for the show. And it's a lot of the intro narration is a little bit from Bob Iger, but then it's Walt kind of talking about the story of his life kind of in his own words through interviews and stuff that they had done over the years, which was wonderful.
That was really, really neat.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Okay.
It's like you started the music with your clap. I think that's fine.
Guess what? We got background music.
We have background
So for those of
music.
you who might be hearing a different background, a weekly tier showed up, and then all of the trifecta of the parade, the fireworks, and the tapestry of happiness happened. So
Yes.
we are now...
So we got Disney distracted,
Yeah.
go figure.
So we are now in Linwood, Washington at the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet. We just arrived, and so we're going to finish our experiences. But you were talking about, we had left off at the intro video to the Walt animatronic.
Yes. Before we get into that, we're just going to also say we are sitting here in the Embassy Suites. They're setting up for the Pacific Northwest Mouse Meet, and they're playing all sorts of fun Disney music. Literally, it's like magic, because Tag clapped to sync up our audio, and that's exactly when the music happened, but they're testing stuff. So just forewarning, the music
come or
on
go.
the background might, yes, come or go, but we love it because it's Disney themed. So anyways, so with the little pre-show movie that accompanies the Walt animatronic, I think it was really, really well done, because it does tell the story. It does tell Walt's story, and it tells it in great detail. And I was shocked, and Tag's been poking fun at me because every time we talk to someone, I bring this up. But I was just really impressed and really happy that they didn't kind of gloss over, throw a bunch of pixie dust at his story, and that they did share not just like the one main struggle. They talked about multiple struggles, and like how big of a commitment it was for him financially. And like there was at one point he said like the bankers were more nervous than I was, and he was talking about how he had to mortgage, take mortgages out on his own personal stuff to make some of these things happen, which again, like us crazy Disney fans may know that, but that's definitely not something I'd say the general or casual Disney fan is aware of. So I thought that was really cool. They could have left that all out. They could have just glossed over that. They could have left it out. They could have said that there was one big struggle, moved on, but they didn't. I was really impressed with that. So the story talks about that. If we were in charge of this, there was one point that we're like, that you feel like the animatronic should have been unveiled, and it wasn't at that point.
It would have been perfect, I thought.
Yeah, it would have been, because there's they talk
Like an
about the
introduction.
Wonderful World of Color, and it's the intro from, Wonderful World of Color, and they're like, and now your host, Walt Disney. And there is even a pause in this video that you're like, this is it, but that's not it. So
Yeah, you think the curtain's going to go up, and there he is, but no.
That was not it. It's a little further. The first time we saw it, I was a little, I don't want to say bothered, but maybe confused. But then the second time we saw it, I understood it better. So they go into them talking about Disney World, and then Epcot, and then after Epcot stuff, that's when the curtain raises and they talk, and then Walt comes out. And the first time I watched it, I was like, we're in Disneyland. Why are we talking about Walt Disney World? Because he wasn't ever there.
Right.
And why are we talking about Epcot? Because it didn't end up being what Walt was planning for Epcot.
Right.
But my thought is, when we see Walt, it's like right after he had just recorded the Epcot video. Because I think it's still in the same office. Didn't he record that from his working office?
They were in the project center for it, but
Got it.
But still like a set. Yeah, I can
See,
that's
I
an
kinda
interesting
think that
way
it
to
was
think about it,
maybe-
that it's like right afterwards.
Yeah, that maybe it was him kind of reflect. Maybe that's just a Teresa thing. Maybe
Well, and a
that's not.
lot of his audio for the animatronic part, and actually for some of the video, was taken from, there's this really famous, there's a lot of clips from Walt from this interview, and I don't remember, it was a 1963 interview, I want to say it was, where that's the clip that you've seen before where he's like, you know, Sundays were daddy-daughter days,
Yeah.
and then like he was sitting bored on the thing. Like it looks like it's in his office. That video, if you've ever seen any clips of that, a lot of the stuff comes from that interview because it was such a long interview. I want to find that
An
interview because I
expansive
want to
interview.
watch the whole thing. Because over the years, they've taken little pieces, like different
little bits of
documentaries
it.
have taken little pieces of it. I kind of want to just see the whole thing.
I want to talk about that really quick. And forgive me, Weekly Tears, if we talked about this in the earlier part, so like 5 minutes ago for you, but like a day ago for us.
Yeah.
The thing that was amazing to me, so again, with us, and I'm saying us as in Tag and I, but also the greater like listening community of DL Weekly, because I feel like we're all very similar and have a very good, strong knowledge of Walt the man, and have done, not research necessarily, but have watched different documentaries and just have been exposed to more stuff.
We're a little more tuned in.
Footage, more photos, that sort of thing. I was really surprised and impressed, not only in the front display that was in the Disney Gallery that had, there's a bunch of tons of pictures that I had never seen of him before. So that was super cool. But in this little pre-movie thing, footage. There were some clips of footage that I had never seen before, which that was also very surprising to me because there's only a certain amount of that
Right.
that exists, period.
Yeah, they're not creating new ones.
Right. And like, so the fact that they keep finding more, they keep releasing more or whatever is just wild and very, very cool.
So, I don't
Main
want to.
event.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil things. There are a couple things that I think are important to point out for me and some reviewers online, and Teresa can express if she feels this way too. There's a couple spots of the animatronic presentation that you do, in a way, forget that it's an animatronic. It moves in such a way that I've never seen an animatronic move before, which tricked my brain into like, that was super lifelike, which I was really impressed by. The audio, because it was taken from different speeches and they've had to try to make it so it's comes across as like a seamless conversation from him. You know, none of it's artificially generated or anything.
No,
It's just
yeah.
kind of like leveling and stuff. Sometimes it sounds just a little off, but they were working with what they had to work with, right?
Yeah.
Like they wanted to be very authentic and only it be his actual words.
But overall, though, I think I didn't even notice that it was kind of pieced together.
Yeah.
I kind of had forgotten about that until you just said that, which obviously makes sense. But for me, the thing with the audio was I didn't like where it was a little quiet. It was like it was
Yeah.
coming from behind him. So I want them to turn the audio up a little bit. We were very fortunate to sit in the first half of the theater both times that we got to see it, and the second time when we were like maybe halfway back, that it was almost felt a little too quiet.
It's interesting, though, because I think the reason that it was done that way is I think they were trying to give the impression that he was up there speaking.
Yeah.
On
mic.
Yeah. And that's how it would be if he was up there talking. It'd be quieter.
Which I get that. And
But
that's an easy fix.
Yeah, but for like a presentation, whatever. But yeah, no, I thought it was really great. There's a great line. I don't even know the line fully, but there's a thing about being a pollinator, and that is a great line.
It was
And
a great
I
line.
thought that story really, for people who don't know Walt Disney the man, that really encapsulated kind of his playfulness, because he was kind of telling the story in that playfulness, because he was saying he got asked by somebody about this, and he's like,
Yeah.
well, what do you do? Like, and that was very like Walt
Yeah.
from videos and
That's
stuff.
true. No, I like that.
Which I thought was spot on, and just, I don't know, it's just the more I reflect on it, we were very fortunate and got to see it twice while we were there. I don't know, the more I think about it, like the more and more I like it. Like my initial reaction was that I was worried, because what Disney had posted was not a good representation of what it is.
Yeah.
But when we saw it, I was like, I kind of thought that was cool. Then I saw it again, and I've seen people's reviews. And on the plane ride up to Washington today, I watched David from Fresh Baked, his thing. He loved it.
Yeah.
You'll hear from people who did it and what their experiences with it were. So, yeah, it was just, I'm really happy this exists.
Yeah, so for me, just my overall thought with it, if you are someone who went and saw stuff online, whether it was still photos or video or whatnot, I kept myself very spoiler-free, literally was not on social media from the day that it...
Congratulations, by the way. You did a very nice job.
The day that it was hard. There was at one point, so the day that it released by Disney, which I want to say was a Monday of the week that, Monday of last week was when it...
Wasn't it Tuesday? Because we'd already recorded the podcast.
No, it was I had put the news together.
That's
and
right.
It was like right after
it was that Monday.
I'd been digging, like it was just after I finished the news for the script that it released, which was perfect for me because then I was like spoiler free. If I was still trying to put together the podcast, there was no way I was going to avoid it. So it worked out great for me. But yeah, so I completely was able to stay away and off. I almost, of all the places, I have to tell this funny story because I feel like everyone will appreciate it. I was using Google Lens to figure something out. Google Lens was the thing that almost got me. Of all the places, for whatever reason, when I pulled Google Lens up... Okay, so this is
really dumb.
I
know I'm a techie, but what is Google Lens?
What? You don't know what
Is that the one where you take a picture of something and it tells you what it is?
Yeah.
What were you looking up that would show
Nothing.
You Walt?
It was completely unrelated.
Oh.
So that's
they were just trying to get you.
Yeah, it had I don't know, suggested articles or something. I have no idea why. And it was when I opened the app, not after I had taken the photo.
Oh, okay.
It was really funny. I was and I was with Vern.
That's
I was
where
like,
the confusion was.
And he's like, "What is happening over there?"
In my mind, I just envisioned you opening this app and then like throwing your phone across the room.
No, not quite that dramatic. Not quite that dramatic. So Google Lens almost got me. But
wow.
Overall, so I went in fresh. I've been hearing from others that his appearance didn't feel 100%. So I knew that going in, so I didn't know what that meant entirely. But I knew that he wasn't like 1,000% perfect, which I have thoughts on if that is good or not good too. We can get to that later because we have lots of thoughts. But overall, I think it's great. The other thing too my point that I was making the longest way to get to possibly was I did see it in person first, really enjoyed it, felt a little disjointed about the animatronic, but when I then later that night, because then of course I need to see what everybody was getting all fired up about. So I went online and found the videos and watched videos and saw stills, and my gut reaction the first time I saw the video, it was the one that Disney had released, was I actually was looking at it and we were in bed, lights were off, and I was trying to be quiet and I couldn't help myself but just go, it threw me off because what I saw in the video did not feel the same as what we experienced. So if anybody saw the videos, saw the photos, and are kind of turned off or wanting to keep their distance, try to forget that. Try to forget that. Because there was a lot of things that you could eat, again, even though it's not 100%, I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. There's so many details of the technology of that figure that just is mind-boggling to watch. Yeah. I mean, little things like if you, again, I don't know if we talked about this, I feel bad, but try and sit towards the front because you can, just looking at his skin, looking at all the tiny little movements.
It's new technology for animatronic skin.
Looking at all the tiny little movements in his face and his eyebrows and he squinches his wrinkles and squinches his nose up. I mean, it's amazing when you look at all that kind of stuff.
When they say it is the most advanced audio animatronic they've ever done, they're not exaggerating, in my opinion. Mm-mm. Even the shaman in Disney World was really...
It's fluid.
Yeah. But this was but that's not a person, that's like an alien, right? It's person-like.
Yeah.
But this was a real life, I don't know, it was, you really, I would say, if you're at Disneyland, the next time you're at Disneyland, anybody listening to this, go see the show. Mm-hmm. Because it's a great show. Also, and I think I might have said this already, but it's really important, it's a really important show because there's a lot of people now that do not know that Walt Disney was a person.
Yeah.
And this humanizes Walt Disney to people who don't know it's a person and tells his story. I think that this is the perfect time because I think there's still enough people around that knew Walt and remember Walt. And I feel like if we waited too much longer, that authenticity would be gone.
Yeah.
And we might have gone too far. But I feel like this will keep his memory as a person alive. And especially at Disneyland, that's really important.
The other really beautiful thing that we got to experience being in the space, watching this for the first time with folks, was when we saw it on the 17th. There was a group, I'm sure it was happening throughout the theater, but specifically there was a group that was seated right behind us. And while we were watching things, again, it tells a story, and it tells a story really well. You could hear them go like, oh, or like, oh my, like reacting to it, which makes you realize this is the first time that they're hearing some of that information. And that right there, that's why this is so important. I don't care. Again, I'm not saying that I think there's some work to be done and there's some improvements that could be made to the animatronic portion of the show.
Sure.
But the overall arc of the show, I think, is really beautiful.
Well, I don't think you've said it yet. I could be wrong. But you've been saying to people when we've talked to them in person that this show isn't made for the super fans. This show is made for, like, we'll call it the casual Disneyland guest.
Well, but I think it could be made, like, you can't go in there with the super fan mind right now because it's the animatronic portion is not perfect.
Right.
Once they get that perfect, then it's for both.
But the average guest, it's perfect for now.
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So I think don't go into it with an open mind and go into it with your heart first, because it is really beautiful. And again, even though it wasn't like, I didn't feel like he was, since we know what he looks like so vividly in our minds, it suspended reality to a point for me that he was on the stage talking, but it still hit me in the feels. Both times we saw it, at the end, they get you. They just get you, and it, like, you can't help but just kind of have this, like, swell of emotion. And even when you first see him, it's kind of like the anticipation of him being there. But yeah, it was emotional. I didn't fully shed a tear, but it was definitely getting awfully
You know what I was surprised about?
What?
I honestly thought when the curtain went up that somebody in the audience would make a noise, like a gasp or something. Like, I expected just seeing this thing, and there wasn't there. I did hear like a heavy breath, I guess, if you will.
Like a gasp?
Not a gasp, not that vocal, but just kind of like a taken aback kind of raw emotion, I guess.
Sure.
When, I don't know how much we want to explain. He stands up at one point. He goes from leaning to standing. I don't think that's like spoilering anything.
I think that was announced at 23.
So when that happens, I think that and then when he leans back at the end, those two things I think are very impressive.
Yeah.
And people, I think, even though because it was announced, I think people like forgot.
Seeing it, but
and
even
seeing
just
it,
seeing
it's spectacular.
Like, whoa. Yeah, it's cool.
They did
it's
a great
cool.
job.
I think it's beautiful. Again, we highly recommend everyone to go see it, enjoy it, experience it. The good thing is that today, as we're recording this on the 18th, the virtual queue wasn't as gone in two blinks of an eye, less than 2 blinks of an eye. David from Fresh Bake reported this morning on the 18th, so the day after it debuted, that there was still virtual queues for the first grouping. You could still try and get a virtual queue at almost 9 a.m. So that's great. I think that's really good. I knew that it was going to be super popular the first day, but they were able to get a lot of people through yesterday to see it. And yeah, I know that I personally was on the fence and had mixed feelings about it, but I think it's a really good addition.
So, real-time update. I pulled up the Disneyland app.
Yeah.
So they said a virtual queue is closed to guests not already in a group. So you're like, okay, it's full. But it says how to experience. Guests may head directly to the standby queue at the Opera House for the Walt Disney Magic Life until 7:30 p.m. Virtual queue is not required at this time.
Wow.
So there you go. Mm-hmm. You may be lucky enough. I mean, that's today on the 18th at 5:30 p.m. Disneyland time. They are not. And by the time you hear this on Wednesday, it may be not doing the virtual queue anymore, or maybe they'll do the virtual queue on days that they think the park's going to be super busy. But that's good. We all knew it was going to be. Everybody wanted, all the super fans, the people who love the park, obviously, and it's the birthday. I mean, it was a culmination of a lot of things. I mean, I don't know if we talked about how just crazy busy the park was. And Teresa actually thought after the cavalcade that it was going to calm down a little bit, but it was busy
say
all
that
night.
Was like, okay, we've seen all the special things for the day, so we can go, especially if you live locally. But no, it was busy. I want to say one more thing. The other thing that I thought was really great about the Walt show, both times that we were very fortunate to be able to experience it, what did you notice? There was people were in the moment for that show, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Especially on an opening day.
Typically you have all, people with their phones trying to record, trying to take photos, which we're all guilty of, and that's okay. Like, a lot of people, experience it that way, like to enjoy it that way, like to take photos for their own memories, to share to their friends and family, whatever. That's totally fine. But it didn't dawn on me. But really, I didn't see hardly any screens and phones. If people were taking photos or anything, it was very down low and very respectful. Yeah. So I think a lot of people were very, very very engaged
in the moment,
or very in the moment, and just So it was a very special thing to experience because of that, and shared experiences. We're all in the space together, and everybody was just very kind and very respectful.
I totally agree with you. So when the movie ends and the screen is going up before Walt shows up, and it gets kind of dark in the theater, I expected 100% to see everybody's phone go up, and that didn't happen. No. And I was like, thank you.
There was one lady that was just off to the side of us that I don't know if she was trying to take a picture or what, but she kept accidentally turning her flashlight on. So we had one exception, but typically though, it's, tons. There's plenty of photos and phones and whatnot popping up. But
there was one guy we were kind of impressed with in a way. He had a giant camera rig.
A huge setup.
But he didn't have lights or anything, and it was very unobtrusive. But we saw him in the lobby, and I was like, that is quite the rig to carry around.
Yeah, I had no idea where he was sitting, because that's how...
He was in the front row, off to the right, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw him walk in, and I was like, that is quite the rig.
It is.
And then I thought, I get irritated when I have to bring, the small stuff that we have, and he's got this giant rig. Anyway, it was really cool.
That's
like I said, go see it. That's true. And I'll bet you he has wonderful video. In fact, he's probably one of the people that, which I tell people all the time, there are people that have much better equipment than you do on your phone that go and professionally record these things that you can see on YouTube and be in the moment. And if you want to see it again later, somebody's got a great video of it. And this might have been one of those people.
Well, and there was a media preview on the 15th, I believe it was, for Walt's Magical Life that they did invite folks into, and people that experienced that. I thought this was so cool that Disney kind of nipped this and said, we're gonna play the show twice. The first time we play it, we want you to all just
no recording.
No recording, be fans, be in the moment. The second time we play it, go ahead, you guys can do what you need to do to get your content. So, and I thought that was so cool because, I, as a creator, as one of those video creator type folks, they're constantly having to experience things while also trying to get the content to them put out, for their channels. So that was a really cool opportunity for them to be able to just not have to worry about it and just experience it for the first time as it was intended. So I thought that was pretty darn cool that Disney had that foresight and opened that experience to them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Which
overall,
is good for them.
Overall, I know we're kind of going on and on and on about Walt's. Overall, I think we both agree this was a positive thing for the park, and definitely recommend you go and see it. Again, go in and see it, knowing it's not perfect, but go in because it is very well done as far as the overall story, music, emotion, all that fun stuff, and the technology. How did you feel about our experience for the 70th overall?
I thought it was pretty good. To get my slight nitpickiness out of the way in the beginning, it was a little warm. But that's
Disney, what's up with that?
Yeah, I know, right? Why'd you have to build it in Southern California? Why couldn't you build it in the frozen tundra of the Midwest? No, it was warm. There was a lot of people. I don't think I I don't recall, I'm sure that I'm wrong, but I don't recall personally seeing the park that full before.
It was
very busy.
Very busy.
I thought that the general vibe was not at the level of Pride Night, which was just like otherworldly, but like there was a good vibe going on because everybody was wearing their like buttons that they got in the morning. There was a lot of people that were bounding and stuff, and they were just happy to be in their happy place on its birthday.
Yeah, lots of people like getting in the celebration with, and maybe it was bounds. There was a lot of people that were just dressing in 70th colors and, like just very, very fun to like be part of the experience in the show. It was very cool to be on Main Street to sing happy birthday to Disneyland during the little cavalcade show stop. Lines overall, as far as for attractions and whatnot, that wasn't our focus for the day, was not to be on a lot of attractions.
That was the plan, was we were just going to take it easy.
But we did go experience a few, and honestly, the waits were not bad. I feel like we've experienced the parks with that density of busyness before, but not for an entire day. Like I'm thinking about like sometimes like at
midday, like when everybody's
or like
there,
in evenings when like people come in after work, kind of like, and there's like just this concentration, or like maybe party mix-in times too. There's a hefty concentration, but then it dissipates. This didn't really dissipate. It was there for the whole day, so that was unique.
When was the last time we've been to the resort and not set a single hair in Disney California Adventure?
That's a great question.
Because we did not set a single hair in Disney California Adventure.
Yeah, we didn't
in
even
fact,
scan
we didn't even do downtown Disney.
No, we didn't. You're right.
The closest we got is we did ride the monorail right before closing last night to the station back. Pro tip, they do start one-way monorail trips, so we almost got
stuck,
abandoned in downtown Disney 10 minutes before close, which I panicked because I have my goodbye park like ritual, and I was like, if they make us get off, I don't know what I'm going to do.
What am I going to do?
I was joking with Teresa that I was going to have to make a reservation for this morning and head over first thing.
Run over before our flight to say
and just
goodbye
go in, say goodbye,
and
come out.
Come back out. But overall, it was really fun. There was crazy lines for things that maybe you wouldn't think.
Well, merchandise.
Oh my gosh, merchandise was wild. We were very fortunate and got word that they had the specific pieces of merch that we wanted, which were not limited edition. It was open edition merch. That they had that over in Tomorrowland at the Star Trader. So we went over there, got in, got out, lickety split, easy peasy. But even later, we went over to the Emporium, and it was still just. It felt like Black Friday or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it felt like Black Friday because there was a part we had come in through the Futurosities shop or Fortuosities shop, and we were at a dead stop. Like it was like nobody was moving. And there was nowhere you could really go, and I was surprised because even after the fireworks, when everybody's like time to go shopping and go home, I have never seen it like that.
Yeah.
But we got through. We were trying to. It was funny because Teresa and I usually when we go to the Emporium, we'll split up and kind of look at the things we want to look at, and we'll find each other. Teresa's like, I'm just sticking with you.
We're just gonna stay together because we're not gonna find each other again unless we get out and call each other and say, okay, I'm standing by this thing. The other crazy wait was I went to get coffee at Maurice's Treats. The Maurice's Treats line came out of the little thing, across the little, which I don't even know if I recognized before that there was a bridge there, but I got to spend a lot of time right there, so now I know. And then up along the walkway to the castle, going up towards the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. I was like, this, but I realized, silly me, I realized part of the reason, the cheesy garlic bread, the cheesy garlic pretzel bread is there, and they have that in the morning, but I had forgotten, foolish me, there is a breakfast version of that now. So it's like sausage and egg and cheese on that cheesy garlic pretzel bread, which if I liked eggs, that would probably be a fun thing to try. I felt bad because if we would have known that, you may have tried that. That seems like something for you, maybe. But yeah, so that was part of the reason it was so busy, and just the fact that there's so many people. But so there was Yeah, and like, what was it, Westward Ho Trading Company? They had
pins.
limited edition pins for the day, so that had some crazy snaky line. There was lines for photo ops and stuff, so it was just not your normal average Disney day things as far as where the lines were for the day. So that was kind of interesting to experience. But overall, we just very casual with the day. We got to experience the things we wanted to experience, but we just kind of went with the Disney wins in a different way and just kind of really enjoyed being around Disney friends and people, and did a couple little meetups with like Terry Hardin's group. Some of the concierges were also in the parks. So it was just kind of a chill day in that sense.
I think it worked out really well for us that earlier in the day, we had spent a little bit of time with Terry Hardin and Terry's tribe. That's her, like, kind of her version of Weekly Tears. Because she just was hole up at Coke Corner. And then we went and kind of did a bunch of stuff. We came back and we spent a good chunk of, mid-afternoon just chilling there. And it was great because, like, Willie Ito was there for a little bit. Maynard came by.
Yep, Maynard stopped by, which was very fun.
Stephanie and Connie, who was one of the old...
Yep, Connie was over there, too. And the Lopez brothers stopped by, which they are two basketball players that are, like, big Disney fans. They stopped by to say hi because, of course, Terry knows them and is friends with them. So you just never know who you may see while you're hanging out over at Coke Corner on the birthday, whether it's the 70th or whatever anniversary, because Terry knows a lot of different types of folks and a lot of different Disney folks. So it's just really cool and really fun to kind of hang out over. Plus, it's shady. There's chairs.
And Stephanie told us that we didn't even realize this, and then when I was looking through the video I took, Bob Gurr was sitting watching the cavalcade like a few people away from us.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice.
We were over like on one side of a blocked off walkway. He was on the other, like same side, but like the left side and the right side.
Yeah.
Same side of the street.
Craziness.
Yeah. We were one little section over from Bob Gurr, didn't even realize it. So being there on an anniversary is just always a treat because it's just...
You never know who you're going to see.
It's extra pixie dust is what it is.
Yeah.
But now we're going to take a moment and let you hear from some other folks that we spent some time with during the 70th, and you can hear their thoughts on the day as well as their first reactions to the Walt animatronic.
We're going to take a quick break from this week's episode to hear from Eric over at Concierge about other Disney news.
Hello everyone and welcome to the D180. While Teg and Teresa cover all things Disneyland, in the D180 we take a spin around the rest of the Disney universe, and we do it in 180 seconds. Let's jump right in. I've talked about this a few times on this segment over the last few months, but it's finally coming. It is Disney Starlight, Dream the Night Away. It's Walt Disney World Magic Kingdom's new nighttime parade, and it's going to debut on July 20th, 2025. That's right, it's finally here. Walt Disney World finally gets back another nighttime parade. First new nighttime parade we've had since Paint the Night, I believe, in Disneyland, and that's fantastic. So you know that this one is going to be a great show. Watch as many of your Disney and Pixar favorites come to life in sparkling lights. But hey, you can check it out online if you want. I'm sure there'll be plenty of great videos out there to show you what's going on in this new parade. July 20th, 2025. Speaking of other things going on in July of 2025, Test Track is opening up. I mentioned this last time, July 22nd, so just a few days away from that as well. It's all the same excitement, just a fresh coat of paint and some new themes. It's going to be awesome as well. And then Rock and Roller Coaster, one of my favorite coasters, starring the Muppets, will open in 2026. It's the mashup you never thought you'd see, but I can't wait to see it in person. It's opening in 2026. There's a little bit of time left to see the Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith if you are in the park. It's also closing in 2026. But they've already started to make some of the changes. If you look, some of the decorations on the inside of the attraction have changed colors, they've changed configurations. It's kind of fun to make comparisons between the old and the new, and this is going to make it even faster for them to reopen this attraction. Can't wait. It's going to be great. I love it. Maybe now is the best time for you to head back to Walt Disney World, or experience it for the first time. Hey, if you are a Disneyland visitor, you can still save up to 20% on stays at one of the Disneyland Resort hotels from the end of this summer through December 19th. Head out to Aulani Resort. You can still save up to 30% on stays of 5 nights or longer this fall. That's October 20th to December 23rd, 2025. There's a lot going on this fall if you haven't noticed. Call your planner, figure out which Disney place you're going to head to. That's it for the D180 this week. If you have questions about these Disney adventures or any others, please look at the social media and websites of both the Sweep Spot and Concierge, their official travel planner. And that'll do it for this episode of the D180. If you have questions about these Disney adventures or any other, please look at the social media and websites of both DLWeekly and us, their official travel planners, Concierge. Then call your personal planner, Teresa. I'm sure she will find something special for you and your family in the coming seasons. For Concierge, this is Eric Johnson, and this has been your D180.
Thanks, Eric. And now, back to our show.
We're on Main Street USA with Kate, our community manager. We just watched the Walt show. We're wondering, Kate, what are your first thoughts, your reaction, and what are you thinking of the festivities for the 70th so far today?
I absolutely loved it, and I'm a little shocked that I loved it so much because I don't know if I just had low expectations due to some spoilers I saw on the internet. I thought it was great. People have said that the face doesn't look quite like him, but I thought from the audience it looked really enough like him that I kind of forgot it was an animatronic for a moment there.
That's awesome. Was there anything in particular that happened during the show that was a whoa kind of moment for you?
I think just the gestures, and even when there were parts of the show that were kind of drawing your attention to other things, it was still, you could tell the attention to detail that was put in to making sure that he was still being Walt, even when the audience would be looking at something else.
What did you think of the, I want to call it the pre-show, but it's not the pre-show, but I guess the museum part, and then also the movie that plays before.
I thought it was really cool that they had, the displays were great. I was excited to see the Barker bird and to hear the little spiel that I'd never heard it before.
I was not expecting that. And the fact that it was the full spiel too was pretty amazing.
It was really fun. And I also enjoyed the pirates and in particular the pig. I did in fact get a selfie with the pig.
What was it about the pig?
Did you look at its face?
Yeah.
It was so
You never
cute.
get to see the pig's face on the attraction because he's facing the pirate.
Oh my gosh.
I took a picture.
Cute.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I got several pictures of the pig. Yeah, I think especially before you go in to see kind of the latest technology, it's really cool to see, the older technology and how far we've come. And,
that's a really good point because this is the most advanced audio animatronic, and in the display area, the Disney Gallery, before you go in there, you're seeing the originals and the evolution of almost of animatronics.
Yeah, for sure. It was, it's fun. I liked it a lot.
How about the rest of your day for the 70th? Because we are recording this on the 70th, waiting for the cavalcade.
Yes, it is crowded. And there was a little bit of chaos in the Emporium this morning that I experienced. And I need to remember next time to always go to Star Traders. But it's fun. It's fun to see how excited everybody is, and to see kind of some Disney royalty in the park today. And I don't know. I always love being here on the days that you can tell that it's a lot of other Disney fans that are here.
I feel like today is one of those rare days that happens that brings everybody together. That you know how when they do the State of the Union, they keep one person away. I'm like, what one person in the Disneyland thing would not be here to carry on the legacy? Because Josh D'Amaro was here earlier, Bob Iger was here, a lot of the people that are going to be obviously in the cavalcade, all the big Disneyland fans. So you take out a good chunk of the fan base, I think.
That's a dark thought.
No, but I'm just saying, like, it's crazy how many people are here, fans and everything.
Yeah, I love it. I love to see. It looked like they were interviewing some Imagineers earlier. So, yeah, it's always fun to spot people from the company and the parks.
Well, thank you, Kate.
Thank you, Kate.
Anytime.
Well, we're here with our friend Eric Johnson. You may know him as the voice of the D180 on the DL Weekly podcast, as well as other podcasts. But welcome, Eric. We would love to hear your thoughts about the new Walt show and animatronic that we got to experience at Disneyland this past week.
Well, thank you. And by you saying welcome, I just feel like I have to perform my welcome to the D180 again, like I was asked to do multiple times this weekend. It was great meeting everybody, by the way. Thank you.
Eric had so much fun because he kept getting recognized because people would hear his voice and be like, wait, are you Eric Johnson?
You know what? To be fair, they wanted pictures with you. They just wanted to know if I was Eric Johnson.
I thought they were like, oh, yeah, that guy.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to meet him.
So what was your first impression of like the pre-show area, that display, the show itself in the theater?
I didn't get to spend a lot of time in the pre-show area because I was eating 2 Dole Whips outside. So we got in a little late.
Choices.
Yes. Technically, one was a Dole float.
I forgot about this.
See, I'm a storyteller, everybody. But yeah, I got in a little late. It was very crowded. We were at the back. Teg had a great conversation with a cast member that I didn't hear any of. I was just impressed that she was dressed in, not colonial, Civil War era garb, and she had full tattoo sleeves. I'm like, I wanted to see more of her sleeves. I wanted to talk about those tattoos. She was probably supposed to talk about Walt stuff. I caught a glimpse of all of the stuff from the Family Museum. I've never been there. I've heard from multiple people like, oh yeah, if you go there, like this is really from their collection. It's on display a lot. So I want to go back and look at all of that again, because that looked really interesting. It being the first day, it was a ton of people in the room, and they opened the doors, and they're like, get in now! And I got completely separated from your group.
Yes, we did.
You ended up like sitting like underneath Walt's pointed finger, and as he's pointing toward the future, and I was in the back row.
He was pointing at you.
No, he was pointing off to the side. We were like dead center in the back row, which was great. Really, when they talk about you want to see it in person, that was completely true. Yeah, we've all seen the close-up pictures like with floodlights on him. Like, what's going on? There are plenty of theories about that. I'm sure other people have talked about that, and we don't know for sure. So I'll leave any of that comment
I don't think
out.
we have had any of the theories as to why it was presented.
Oh, yeah.
Why the spoilers were presented the way they were presented. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm not sure why they were presented that way. I think it was just to maybe build up some hype beforehand. But I think the reason his face was so big, I've heard a few things. The one that I like to subscribe to is the idea that there's a lot going on in that face.
Yeah.
Like, he's a complicated robot. You've shown me some really great pictures over the last day or two where people have gotten some really great angles, and you're like, that's the angle they should have gotten.
Yeah.
But putting him under a floodlight and showing him at an unflattering angle, I guess we all look bad from a certain angle. Mm-hmm. You know, which, I don't know which side you prefer to be photographed from. Any comments?
I don't know.
No sides.
No. Okay, Tech, no sides.
I don't know if I have a specific side.
Yeah, my wife always needs to stand on a certain side of me. She needs to stand on my left for pictures. Yeah, so she knows what her side is. I'm not sure what mine is. I just know that whenever I'm wearing a certain type of hat and whenever I make a weird, like, kind of half smile frown, I look like Bobby Moynihan now. Which is unfortunate, because when I was thinner, I used to look like Dave Grohl. But now it's Bobby Moynihan. Sorry, Bobby. I know you listen. Anyway, from back there, like, the movements are so expressive. And let's back up. Let's back up to the show. Mm-hmm. Because the show was, I mean, that's really the star. I don't think they're trying to make, I guess, how do you not make the animatronic the star? How do you not make the robot of Walt the star? But I think they did a great job of it, because they have this entire show. It's narrated by Bob Iger with all of this original audio from Walt. So when they talk about, we've got all these different audio clips and they're of differing qualities, it's because they're from throughout his career, throughout his life. And he's telling his own story as much as he's telling the story of the studios and the parks. And it's a great narrative. It's really well put together. It's so succinct, but it's using Walt's own words.
Yeah.
And it's consistent. It's not like he talks about, in the winters it was really terrible, and then also it was really great in the summers, when it follows the narrative that a lot of us have heard, but not everybody has heard this. I think we as Disney fanatics, I believe Bob Weiss told us that we were not normal today, and I think that's appropriate. Bob said, when you walk, this is a side tangent again, all right, but part of one of the great things about hearing Bob talk today was him saying, when you go into a new attraction, look for the people who are sobbing off to the side. Those are the Imagineers who are so relieved and excited that that people are accepting their new attraction. Not the weird people, not the normal people, he said. And he included us in that not normal group, because it's Imagineers who are not normal. They're the ones who built the thing. And we're the fanatics that have been obsessing about it for a year and a half. The normal people who are they got a Walt show? Let's go. Come on, kids. It's the dads who are yeah, I'll see that. And it's, it's every family that paid for a ticket, as Bob put it. And that's, I guess we all pay for a ticket. We're not quite that, elevated. But still, we're the ones that needed to pay for that ticket. We needed to be there on day one. We needed to wait in a giant line forever to get into this thing, so we could be amongst the first to see it. And I think the narrative covers all of that. It covers from the people, the kids who are what's a Walt Disney?
Yeah.
I've heard about his world and his land. But what, he's a real guy. We're going back to that. It's when we established One Man's Dream. How long ago was that? 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
When they put that in, because the company was starting to realize that the modern audience didn't necessarily realize that Walt was a real human. Many of the people did. It was closer to when people remembered actual Uncle Walt on TV. Now, all that's ancient history. I mean, the man was born in 1901. He died in 1966. We were nowhere near alive during that point in time. Our parents, depending on our ages in this room, our parents were probably alive. A lot of people's parents weren't alive very soon after. I mean, it's just the next generation has moved on. And we've got this whole generation of young people who are really interested in Disney. They're really engaging with the parks, which is awesome. That's what the company wants. That's what we all want. We want to have people excited about this. That's why we do what we do with these shows, partly because we're excited and partly because we want to give this excitement to other people. Disney wants us to do that. That's why they don't shut us all down for saying Disney 400 times per episode. I mean, sometimes they might make us change the names of our podcast. I don't know which one I'm talking about. But
they didn't make us. We chose to.
Oh, okay. You didn't get the cease and desist?
No.
We were trying to make sure that never happened.
Yeah,
I always assumed. I'm sorry.
Nope. We were trying to be.
I thought you were cool enough that you had the cease and desist framed on the wall.
No, the closest we get is anytime we try to do merch. They're those are ears at a castle. Disney owns those.
Oh, I get that from the concierge perspective.
Yeah.
You don't want to know how many hours the company has spent working with Disney to make our logo acceptable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. We want people to engage with Walt as a person and understand that this was one man's vision. And even these people, Tim and Bob today, I assume you've talked about the...
You're an episode ahead, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
We're recording, just so you guys know, we're recording this the last night of the mouse meet, which you'll hear our whole experience about on the next episode, but that's when we're talking to Eric, because things got weird and we were not able to record this part with him in the park.
It's all timey-wimey, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I abandoned them. I left for a different park.
It was still a Disney park.
It was still a Disney park. I didn't go to Knott's or anything on the 17th.
Yeah.
I just went to DCA for food and a beer. Yeah, exactly. We want to make sure that everybody understands the legacy of these things. And even these Imagineers who had never met Walt were saying, well, Walt set the bar. Even now, these people who have been working for decades in Imagineering are saying, Walt set the bar. We all respect the bar.
Yeah.
And the bar is forward, upward, the best we can do, above anything anybody else can do. And when they fall short, they realize it and they need to correct it. So that sort of mentality needs to continue with the parks. We don't want a next generation of Imagineers to go, I really liked Big Thunder Mountain. Can we do a Big Thunder Mountain again? Like, no. Walt would never have said, no, don't just do it again. Do something else. Do something bigger.
Yeah.
If you're going to do a Big Thunder Mountain again, it's got to be great because it's good now. A lot of people really like it. We need to do something bigger. I'm way off tangent here.
That's
but
okay.
the story, it's all about the story of Walt.
Yeah.
And when it ends with Walt Disney, those curtains go up and the lights come up on Walt's office, and this animatronic of Walt that so many people idolize and so many people are like, who's that guy? He needs to be real to everybody. Mm-hmm. And in the end, little things aside, oh, I thought his eyebrows would move more, or I thought he'd do more of this. It doesn't matter because they're using his words to describe himself and his company and his parks. Yeah. His park. Singular, the one that he built. And then to see that the culmination of this is this robot that can stand up and take a step forward. It sounds so minimal when you say it that way. And that's the way I always say it, is like, oh, he takes a step. That's what's different about him.
One small step for man.
Oh, well, jeez. But
one giant step for animatronics.
Yeah, like this quote robot takes a step forward and moves in a realistic way, and his face moves. And that's the thing about the robot that I've heard. Like, how do you get that much motorization in a face?
Yeah. I mean, did you notice he like squinches up his nose at one point? Like,
yeah, exactly. I can't wait to see it more times. My friend Dan has seen it 3 times, and he's like, it gets better every time because you notice more. Mm-hmm. The first time you're just overwhelmed by the whole thing. You're like, oh wow. It's real, it's there. This is the thing that we've been obsessing over because we're the crazy nerds. But as you get more into it, and we're going to watch this thing for years, as the people who probably actually see like Abe at least once a year. Yeah. It's the same sort of thing where we're going to watch this presentation and, sometimes it's going to affect us emotionally and sometimes it's just going to be like oh wow, look at the way he twitched that time when he said that line. Oh, that's really good. That looks that looks so real. I'm going to sit in a different place next time. I want to see how it looks from over there. We're going to keep obsessing about this forever because that's what we do.
Did you have the experience that I had and some others had? Did you find yourself during the presentation forgetting for even a moment that it was a robot?
When he took a step forward, it was... There was a split second where I felt that, but at the same time, I was also watching it to wait for that step forward. I almost missed it because that was when I kind of thought I was just kind of into it. Mm-hmm. And then I recognized that was the step forward and my brain snapped back into, wow, clinically, that was a good foot movement. Because that's what we've all heard about is the step. So, but, this first watch, normally I allow myself to be more into things. Like when I watch a movie, I don't want to know what's going on. I don't want to think about what happened. I just want to watch it and enjoy it. And then go back on repeat viewings and tear it apart. And like, what did I like about it? What didn't I like about it? Mm-hmm. In this particular instance, it was hard not to because every single phone in that room was up.
Being in the back, you probably saw all of that.
Oh, yeah. I saw every person where I'm like, you still had your light on. You're not supposed to have your flash on.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody's taking video because it was already too late. It's everywhere on the internet already. Why did you bother? maybe you want your own to take home. No shade there, but it just, that does take you out of it a little bit. I will say, and that might be what kind of made me continue to I need to look at this and understand, because I'm on podcasts and I have to talk about it.
Sure. But I
knew this was coming.
Yeah. But I will tell you, the step thing, I think maybe I had a little bit of what you had with watching for it.
Right.
But the second spot for me was when at the end where he leans back down on the desk.
Oh, yeah. Because I didn't really clock it. He leaned back and it was so natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't like when Abe Lincoln sits back down and his robot's resetting figure.
Yeah.
And he slowly lowers himself onto the chair, which I guess you can do if you're, a stiff old man. But
he also doesn't actually touch the chair. Have you ever noticed that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a little bit of
hovering.
Shiver there and everything. But yeah, Walt leaning back, it was, I had to blink a couple times because it was so natural. Now that you've mentioned it, I didn't think about it at all until I realized he was back. He reset, yes, but he did it live while everybody was watching. I expected him to kind of stand there and look around at the crowd and wave a little bit while the curtains came down. And then I realized, no, he was just leaning back against his desk, hey, here's the end of the show.
I would say for me, of all the things, when he leans back, that is the most human. That is what makes me forget, because maybe I wasn't expecting it, but also the fluidity, the movement, all of the programming that went into that looks like anybody leaning back up against their desk. Mm-hmm. But anyway, we've belabored that. Overall, good, bad,
great.
Yeah.
Especially hearing that multiple viewings get better from a person whose opinion I know and trust. Most of you probably don't know on the show, listening to this show, probably don't know Dan, my co-host from other shows and good friend.
What is the name of the other show?
Yeah.
I
get to plug.
Dan on. Of course you do.
Oh, the Supreme Resort. And if you've listened to the Hub Crawl, he's the one that when he shows up, you're like, oh, this guy's back?
Dan, I will say from somebody who's not a close friend with Dan, like you are, Disneyland holds a very special place in Dan's life and in his heart.
Yeah.
And so I think hearing his opinion, and I was sad that we didn't get to actually put this mic on him because that was the plan and then it just didn't work out, because I was really curious how he was going to feel about this, because I feel like it's because he grew up with it, that it's personal for him.
Yeah.
So I was curious, but that's good to hear that he's seen it so many times.
Yeah, and I think it's better that you didn't ask him on the day, because talking to him on the day, we talked about it a lot. We met up with a bunch of other people throughout the day, and everybody wanted to know what Dan felt because it's so personal to him.
Yeah.
There are rituals in his life that are centered around Disneyland that are it's an extremely personal thing that I will never have with either coast. But to hear from him that on the day of, he said, it was more than just, it's not that bad. It was, I think this went well. I think this was good. This is what they needed to do. And it has progressed now to, I talked to him earlier today, which is 4 days later? What day is today?
It's 3 days. It's Sunday. So it's 3 or 4 days.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
Today's the 20th.
Okay, that's right. I know what day it is.
It's been a whirlwind trip. We
It's
understand.
been a lot. But yeah, a few days later, I talked to him earlier today, and he said, yeah, I've seen it 2 more times, which is nice for all of you folks. If you haven't been there, it's not going to be slam-packed every single day. It was just the first day.
Yeah.
And in previews, where it was this massive crowd of us crazy nerds who wanted to get in there. But he's seen it more times, and to hear him say it gets better every time, I think this will hold a place for him. This is a person who, when he doesn't want to leave the parks but wants to get away from people for a little while, he goes and sees Abe Lincoln.
Now you can go see Walt Disney.
Now he can go see Walt Disney, and eventually he can see Abe too. I don't know when they're planning on doing the switch over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure he'll do both. And you're right. It does mean a lot coming from him, especially after he's had time to process it.
Yeah. So how'd you feel the rest of the 70th was that day?
Oh gosh, it was so interesting. We got in at rope drop.
You got in before us because we were a little running behind.
Oh yeah. And we walking down Main Street, there were hundreds of cast members applauding.
Yes. And it was the entire length of Main Street.
The entire length of Main Street. It was the weirdest thing.
Nobody's working in the park. They're all on Main Street.
Right. I saw Philander and I waved and he's like, hey! And Dan was walking behind me saying, thank you. Thank you. Which is very Dan. I haven't told you that. But we just went and, we went through the park. Once you got past Main Street, it was dead.
Yeah.
Everybody was waiting to see Walt. And we did
get merch.
Yeah.
Get merch, yeah. And once we got through a whole bunch of stuff in the morning, we took the train around from Toontown, because we had just done Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, came around to the Main Street station, and it was just a sea of people. There was no one in Toontown. We could have, gone on Gadgets Go coasters many times as we wanted.
Yeah.
But
Which is 0.
Once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting out to the front, there were so many people. And then, of course, all the people we wanted to meet were at the other end of Main Street. I'm like, why didn't we go to New Orleans Square? And yeah, just seeing the amount of people that were there for this and wanted to be part of it was absolutely incredible. And I have to give a shout out to my friend Hector. We ran into him outside of Monsters, Inc. He's a cast member who was at one of the food carts.
Oh.
And Dan was hungry. Our friend Brianna and I were not. But we walked up to the food cart and we're like, how's it going, Hector? And he goes, it's very lonely here today.
Oh. It was, yeah. If you were not a person that needed to be in Disneyland to celebrate the 70th, the best place to be that day was DCA.
Oh yeah.
We were telling the people when we were waiting to get in,
fine.
there were people in front of us and behind us that were casual day guests, as we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, is it like this every day? And we're like, oh no. And then I was like, do you have park hoppers? And they did. And I said, at 11, you should go over to the other park because you'll have a great time.
Oh yeah. And on that day,
The perfect day in DCA.
oh yeah. I mean, you know about the early entry if you're staying on property. On the 16th, both Disneyland and DCA had early entry at 7 a.m. Both DCA and Disneyland were empty on the 16th, relatively.
Wow.
I mean, we hung out there for a while. We didn't experience a lot of crowds. 17th, only DCA was early entry. They wanted the experience at 8 a.m. And did you hear the Disneyland band playing at... I barely heard them playing, and I was fairly close. There were so many people cheering and clapping. It was supposed to be like opening day, where the band came and played, and they had an announcement from somebody. I couldn't tell who.
We missed. There was we were there just after. Apparently, Bob Iger and Josh D'Amaro were at the front gates making some announcement.
Okay,
and we arrived after that.
Yeah.
I was halfway between the Esplanade centerpiece that's there now and the front gate, and I still couldn't hear anything. I couldn't see anything. Everybody's cameras were up. I'm like, you're not going to catch anything with that. It was a nice touch. I had gotten there fairly early, and I think all the early people were there in front of me. But yeah, Dan and I were there. We could tell that there was a band playing and that there was probably a Bob or a Josh talking.
Mm-hmm.
We could only just hear muffled voices. It was just so funny that the monorail pulled up and was honking its horn during a portion of the proceeding.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was fun. And I'm like, oh no, I only the front few people can see this.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if I really wanted to, I could look it up online. I bet there are a lot of people who have it posted.
Disneyland did post on Instagram a little video.
I'll have to look that up
because they also had characters on the train, and the train pulled into the Main Street station
that's
with
awesome.
characters sitting. Yep.
I heard somebody mention something about that, but yeah, it would have been cool to see. It's just not the way the Esplanade is.
Yeah.
And we're all in lines, and there weren't even that many people in front of me. Probably 100.
But they got people in pretty quick.
Oh, it was fast, and these new gates worked amazing. I don't know if you've talked about the gates.
Because this is your first time, right?
Yeah, it was the first time working with the new gates, and it worked really well. Pretty quick. Unless you were behind somebody who hadn't been there yet. Just like the old days.
Oh, you know what?
First time on your ticket?
Yeah. We had the new people. Oh, no. The brand new people were behind us. The people in front of us had been there. It was day 2 for them, so.
But we actually, We for reasons had to scan a new card or whatever, and it was a quick thing to get our picture taken and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, not a big process. I think it's only when you really don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And thankfully, again, nerd, obsess about this stuff, so I already knew about it and went, oh, this is how it's working. Oh, okay, this is how it's different from Universal. All right, we're good.
Yeah.
And it was done.
And away
And I was
you go.
in.
And the cast members that are there are very good at like walking you through it as well.
Oh, yeah, even when you're leaving. That's another one of those things where people are like, how do I leave? Just stand in front of the doors, they'll open up. I saw people who were waving at the picture of Mickey on the iPad display or whatever on the way out, and the cast member was like, you don't have to wave at Mickey, you can just walk through.
That'd be good if that's how you had to exit. You had to say goodbye. You have to say goodbye to Mickey and then the door open.
You have to tell Mickey why you're leaving.
Well, Eric, thank you for sharing your experience with the 70th and your opinions of Walt.
All right.
The new Walt thing. Not Walt, but like the new Walt.
The Walt Disney's A Magical Life.
Well, thanks for having me.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or Skims, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
All right, so Stephanie, you got to see the Walt animatronic today.
Yes, I did.
What do you think?
I thought it was cool. It's very impressive, the audio and animatronic figure itself. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but there are certain movements that he does which are very realistic, and I was very impressed. I've been to Shanghai, so I've seen some of the animatronics there, like the Jack Sparrow in Pirates, which is a really cool animatronic and moves. But this one was just so lifelike. Now, with that said, I think the head's wrong. The head looks weird, but maybe they can fix that.
Sure.
I think that'll just improve. But I like the storyline, the video that they showed, and having Bob Iger kind of narrate. That was really cool. So I enjoyed that part of it. And it was good. I think it's well worth seeing. I am going to the D23 panel tomorrow, so I'm interested to see what they have to say about it.
Yeah.
So I may have more to add to this, have more insight, because I'm sure other questions will be asked. And it's going to be the gentleman who actually did most of the design on it. Yeah. So that's going to be cool to kind of hear their perspective on that. So, yeah, looking forward to that. And
What did you think of the artifact stuff beforehand?
you know, I didn't really get a chance. It was already crowded when we walked in, and I wanted to make sure we had a good seat. And so I just didn't even look at that stuff. I just kind of we just beelined and got a place for the show. But tomorrow, so this event is, I have to be here at 6:30 tomorrow to check in for this event.
Oh, wow.
We're actually going to be in the park before the park opens, and then we kind of get to get cut loose. So what I want to do tomorrow is hopefully get here early, and hopefully we will have time to roam around the lobby while they check us in and stuff, and because it'll just be like the one group of people coming in for the show, and be able to take some photos and look at things. And if not, I'll worry about seeing it at some other point when they're done with their virtual queue, because today you can't even get in even to just walk around, let alone get in the show, because once you're in, then you go into the absolutely, you don't want people in there like sneaking into the show. So yeah, well worth getting the virtual queue. I'm glad that they did something to honor Walt, and there's a lot of information in there. I mean, people that were sitting next to me were like, "Oh, I didn't know that about Walt," and I'm like, "Yeah, I did." But again, we're the different crowd. You know, we're not your average everyday person that's walking in there. This group has a lot of knowledge about this stuff and has heard a lot of this stuff before. But people in there were kind of wowed, and I think that's good, because we have really lost Walt in this park. There's cast members. They do training now for cast cast members who don't even understand that Walt Disney was a real person, was a real man who walked this earth, who created this place. Because to them, Disneyland's been here 70 years.
Right.
It's just always been here. It's always existed in our lifetimes.
The thing that I thought was interesting about the like pre-show, if you will, was that they weren't shy about him talking about his struggles and all of the different challenges and obstacles that happened to make everything happen.
It was a real rags to riches story, about his simple beginnings, and it's all true, and how he never. I loved the message, and sometimes you just need a kick in the pants to hear this over and over again in our lives. Is never give up.
Yes.
And I think that message really rang through the whole entire presentation. So whatever anybody thinks about, oh my gosh, I'm not going to go see this because of Walt. No, please go see it. Go see it. Decide for yourself. See it in person. Those photos that were taken are taken so up close. You're in this theater with the lighting, with everything else. And again, they can only improve on this. They can't make it worse, right? Version 1.
How have you been feeling about the 70th celebrations today overall, since we are here on the 17th for the official 70th anniversary?
Well, the cavalcade was awfully weak. I'll say that. There were not enough.
I was expecting
Disney
more
people.
Disney royalty.
Yeah, there was not enough Disney royalty, and Bob Gurr sitting in the audience. Why wasn't he on the fire truck? Bob Gurr deserves to be on the fire truck. So that was really weak, and they could have done a much better job with that. Also heard people complaining that got here a lot later that they didn't get buttons or the maps and stuff. But you know what? Sorry, early bird gets the worm. That's how it always is. For the 50th, the ear hats went to 1,000 people and they were done.
Oh, sure.
So you didn't. You snooze, you lose. Get here early and get the good stuff. I wish they had cupcakes again. That was kind of fun when they had that for the 60th. But it is what it is, and I think I got to see it from outside the gate. I was 3 people away from actually getting in the gate before they blocked it, and the media was there, and Bob Iger and Josh D'Amaro spoke, and then the train rolled up with characters and Mickey and Minnie that came down below, so that was really cool to see that, and I saw it from the gates, and I didn't film it because I just kind of wanted to take it all in. I haven't taken a lot of pictures today. I've just been hanging out with friends. I've seen so many people that I know today. It's insane if I start making a list of who I saw today. It's going to be very lengthy, just kind of getting stopped at places and, getting out of the bathroom earlier and hey, how's it going?
We were saying this before, that it's almost like a school, high school reunion or something.
It very much is, and that's why I love coming on the birthday too, is because I get to see a lot of people in one day without having to schedule to get together with everybody, and I can see and talk to people for 5 or 10 minutes and then go our merry way, and then hanging out with Terry, where Terry just sits, well, today not so much because, she ditched us for a while to go to Club 33. No, that's a wonderful opportunity that she had. But just hanging out with her and her group here, and everybody knows she's here, so they just come by looking for her, and she just kind of holds court here, and it makes it easier for her that she doesn't have to roam around and get stopped, and so that's just a lot of fun. So it's mixed emotions. I think they could have done more, but again, it's different times. It's different. It's just a different vibe, but it's still fun to be here and hang out, and it's all good. And I'm glad you guys came. You guys travel so far and to be here. So,
well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for your thoughts, and we'll continue getting some other thoughts.
All right.
So, Terry, you always come on the anniversary, right? Are you always trying to be here?
Always here on the birthday, yes.
How's it been today?
It has been unbelievable. Cast members are saying that they've never seen everybody so happy in their lives. And this is interesting because if they would just celebrate each birthday, it would be very nice. But at least they're doing the iconic birthdays. It's packed today, not easy to move around, but it's just everybody's smiling. And in view of the way other things are, we're all wound too tight. It's nice to unwind and talk Mickey Mouse and Walt.
So, from an Imagineering standpoint, what do you think of the Walt of Magical Life attraction?
Well, it's very interesting. When I first heard about it, I sided with the family because you have to understand that for the family, to see. I want you all to put yourself in their place and understand that I don't care who you are. Are you really going to be comfortable with a relative of yours up there moving, no matter how good it moves? In fact, if it moves really well, it's going to be even weirder. So it's always going to be uncomfortable and always be, it's always not going to work for them. So I felt like they should consider the family's wishes. That being said, and they didn't.
Right, yes.
We go to the next level where I thought, I don't know what that's going to look like. That's, now you're not talking about an iconic person. You're talking about the iconic person. But I decided to go see it after seeing the postings on Facebook. The first thing I think was a mistake. Sorry, Channel 5, I love you, but you made a mistake. You came in too close.
Yes.
Like Joel Christopher Payne, he took a picture of Walt up close, like a portrait, and next to it was Walt's portrait. Well, it was flooded with light. It was closer than you're ever going to be. You're in a theater, and anyone who works in theater, things like this, knows you do certain things on a stage to make them read to the back.
Exactly. Think of like stage makeup. It's over-exaggerated.
A little bit. There are things that aren't working. I'll give you that. Sure. We'll get to that. But let's just talk about how they flooded it with light, posted it on, and expected people to go, oh, it looks great, because it didn't. He was beady-eyed. The beady eyes were my problem. Just too close together. The face was fat. As a sculptor and Imagineer, I tried to discern where the problems were. Sure. Why does it look like this? Imagineers are very talented. Imagineers are really good. And Imagineers love Walt. So how do we get here? And when I said, well, I'm going to go see it. Let me see it. Because I want to see it is the way it is. I saw it up front. It had lighting. I was closer to the back. I thought, it looks pretty good. Not perfect, but still, I don't think it looks like him, but this is better right here. Then the side was really where he looked good. If you sit on the side, the profile is good. So now I'm saying to myself, how is this possible? And I had to race up to Club 33 for a meal. I know it sounds like I'm bragging, but the reason I even bring this up on your channel is because the surprise was, while I was up there, I was with Tony Baxter and a few others. And they were asking me the same question, what do you think? Tony wasn't there. And one of them mentioned, Tony Baxter showed them the original clay. I said, this is good. Talk to me about the clay. The clay looks just like it. The clay looks just like it. If you saw the clay, you'd ask what happened. And I said, now I know what happened.
Yeah.
And they said, what? And I said, sorry, but you've stretched the skin over someone else's skull. And so maybe they were forced to take a skull from something else and stretch it over.
Yeah.
But you can't. Everybody has their own skull.
Yeah.
This is what bones are about. So the good news is, take that off.
Yeah.
Build that skull, the Walt Disney skull, and then put it back.
Yeah. Well, that is great.
Just fine. For now, if you don't want to do that, then sit when you go in. Try to sit next to someone younger. Someone who may not have met Walt, know Walt, because in the past few years, Walt has been being erased from the very parks he created. So, as a result, go in and sit next to a kid, sit next to a younger person, because many said, the kids were like, is that really him? Is that him? Wow!
Yeah.
And they were like, this is so, wow, this is amazing. And they would cry and they would get emotional. So as Connie Lane has said, the ambassador to Walt, lead with your heart.
Yeah.
Listen with your heart. Look with your heart. Because although it's not right, it's the message is beautiful.
Yes.
The message is beautiful.
What did you think of all of the different things that they were able to do with the face, with all the different like twitch stretches and like muscle things.
It's really going to be good when it's the right.
Well, yes.
When I watch it, it's a little like Tourette's. It doesn't. And as a sculptor, it's just like you're trying to put, you're trying to put icing on something that needs fixing at the foundation. Just suck it up and build the proper skull, and you're done. If the sculpture is beautiful, it's the understructure that is not.
Yeah.
And we've done this before as Imagineers. Close enough. If you're trying to save a little money, why not? But not yet.
Yeah.
You can't with Walt Disney. Too many people, and as far as the family is concerned, I understand how much it hurts them. Now, here's something that I heard that was very interesting, and that was that when I was speaking with a couple people, apparently there's an article, Life magazine, Look magazine, something like this, where Walt Disney is being interviewed, and he's asked, that Mr. Lincoln is really something, do you ever see yourself as being an audio animatronic character? And he says, absolutely not. That is not what Disneyland is about, quote unquote. So they're looking for that. Certain people are helping the family to look for that article. And I said, I'm going to look for it. It's got to be somewhere.
Right, yeah.
It's got to be. If he didn't, I know that is exactly probably what he said. No. But what it does is, it helps people who have the audacity of saying why Disneyland is so small, it's so tiny. And you just want to say, you are so ignorant, but we don't want to insult the person. But that is an ignorant statement. This is where Walt walks. Yep. Do I need to say it in sign language? This is where Walt walks. Nowhere else. So, when you come into Disneyland, get your face on, get your heart right, get yourself together, and know you are going into an iconic place that you can go nowhere but Disneyland. Disneyland is the place where he walked. You can recreate things that he did because you're in the place where he touched things, he designed things, he did all of it. And I'm sorry, Walt Disney World, and I'm sorry, all the other guys, but you didn't. You didn't.
Well, so this brings a good point. What do you think about the fact that there's people that come here all the time, casual visitors, let's call them, that don't even know that Walt was a person, that they think Walt Disney is a company and that is all. Do you think this is a great step in the direction for that?
It's an amazing step. I think it is the step. I don't think this is so bad it needs to be removed. I think it just needs to be improved upon. Yeah. And that happens with everything. This is the first time it's being shown. They got to see how long it lasts. They've only tested it a little bit, What's that Brad Pitt movie, F1? Those cars just don't jump on the track and are perfect. Why does Walt have to be perfect first time out?
Yeah.
So show him some love because it's helping people, like you say, who are not studying, who are ignorant, and not doing, you've got to go through the park and realize that he handpicked and pointed at every light bulb, every brick, every structure, except for the ones they sort of changed. But that we won't get into. But the thing is that he loved the carousel. The carousel. He picked the colors. He did everything. You can't find that at any other park because he didn't live to see any other park, and that's the sad part. So I thought I was so grateful that Stephanie Fix was fast on the trigger and got me a viewing. Because I'll be honest, I tried to finagle my own. Many people said, "Oh, I'm just seeing this and I can't do it, but I would have because I love you and I'm sorry." And I'm like, "Hey, I get it." But I got to see it and I really enjoyed it. For like Connie says, you lead with your heart. I mean, when you do that, it's great. There are some nuances that work really well. People said when they saw him step on two legs and not lean and take a step. Yeah, that's awesome.
And leaned back. The left arm, but it's not moving anatomically. But they'll fix that. That's a fix.
you know.
Was there any point in the show, whether it was like the pre-show movie thing or the animatronic show itself, that you kind of were wowed by, or just kind of were interested that they maybe put that fact in there or something?
I'm really happy with the hall in front. I didn't get to see much of it, but the hall in front is going to dazzle people.
Yeah.
It feels like the Disney Museum up north.
Yeah.
The Family Museum. It just has that real. If you didn't get to really know Walt, here's a chance for you to get to know Walt.
Tons of photos that were in there.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Just beautiful. They pay homage to certain rides, you know. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing. It's just your heart just goes pitty pat. And when you look through all of the things during the show, I felt that I would have liked to have seen more Disneyland and less animation. They talked about a lot of his animation, but we're sitting in Disneyland, and it would have been nice to see him do what we all know he did, which is walk through the early stages, you know, the Matterhorn in construction, him looking at the Utopia cars, him standing with Bob and looking over drawings, all of this stuff that we know Walt had his hand in. And I'm hoping that when they do work the face, that the B statement will work better, because it's really
That's
awkward.
a great line. It's a great line, though.
But it's awkward when he moves. And so I love the words, but the movement is off. So yeah, but I thought it was great. What did you guys think?
I thought one thing that I think is really cool too, actually just talking to you kind of made me think about, it's not only about Walt, but actually in a way, because of the display, which you didn't get a chance to really see of, it's also kind of a display about animatronics.
Exactly.
So I think you just hit on like the hidden, they pulled one over on us and we didn't even realize it right away, because I didn't think about that. That whole section before you go in is audio animatronics, so it's a tribute to Walt Disney, but also audio animatronics.
Yeah, and understand that you're not going to be sitting 2 feet away from it.
Yeah.
You'd say that the closest distance, if you're in the front seat center, would be what, 20 feet?
It's still a ways. We sat.
It's not close.
Yeah, first time we saw it, you were in the second row. I was in the third row. It was too close to watch like the pre-movie thing. That screen felt
that
too
was a
big,
bit
but
much.
it felt like a good distance actually for seeing Walt's, because we were able to kind of really appreciate like the texture on the skin and those little tiny little movements within the face and stuff you could see there. But it's one of those we've decided if you're a super fan, you're never going to reach that bar, because that's a very high bar that us super fans have set, because we've watched so many things, we've seen so many photos. His true image is burned in our brains, so we know what looks right and what doesn't look right. But overall, I think it's a positive. Even today when we watched it, there were people behind us, which we did the 7 a.m. queue on opening day. It had to be people that were also in there that were very excited about this, that you'd think were also big Walt fans. And I was hearing so many like, oh, there's people learning stuff in that space, which is huge.
Yeah. Very huge, and that's why I don't want it. I don't want it to be torn down, like some of these people are saying. I want it to stay. I just want them to tweak it like they did Rise. You know, when Rise of the Resistance came out, there were all kinds of problems with it too, and they tweaked it. Yep. They knew he wanted it and tweaked it, and I think they need to tweak this. Now, whether or not it stays or not, as far as the family's concerned, that's another chapter.
Yeah.
It's hard on them, and of course it is.
Yeah.
But if the family gets a chance to be around people who didn't know their relative, and it's reaching them, then I say weigh it. Just weigh it, and then don't go see it. Just see it once. I can't do it. It's not working for me. But listen to the fans around, because there were so many people that it was just amazing. It was amazing to see them just light up, and that's great. That's great that they lit up. That shows you, no matter how much of a diehard you are, there's those that are not. They're in the dark. The light got turned on today, and will continue to turn on. Because you know every person who comes here is going to see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's the cool thing.
Yeah. Thanks, Terry. Thank you to all the people who were able to spend some time to give us those insights.
Your thoughts and unique insights in some cases, too.
Yeah. We will be back next week with more Disneyland news and information.
And until then, we invite you all to go out and enjoy the parks, but however, we're going to go and enjoy the mouse meet.
DLWeekly tiers prepare to be stepping out to your right.
Steady as she goes.